In your early 20s, you do feel that you're too young for breast cancer, and I think it's really important that as young women we take responsibility for our own health, and we do self-check and all of those things that the doctors tell you to do that you think, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. Throughout this journey I've read countless and countless stories of other young women that have been affected by it. Awareness is the cure, really, so I think it's really important that we get the word out there and encourage other young women to take responsibility for their own health, really. I was living in London and travelling throughout Europe and pretty much just loving life like any 23-year-old should. I went away that summer and did a big trip around Europe, and I came back to London. I happened to be in the shower one day, and as I rubbed my arm down my right side, I felt a lump in my right breast. And I thought, that doesn't seem quite right, I'm sure that wasn't there before. So I headed off to my GP, who at the time told me that I was too young and it wouldn't be anything serious, it would be nothing more than a cyst. So I carried on for the next 9 months or so, and you know, the lump was still there, and I sort of felt it had got a bit bigger, and I still didn't feel that it was right, but I took my GP's word for it. It was only by chance really that I was at another GP later on in the year, and it was about something totally unrelated, and as I got up to leave she said, do you have any concerns about anything else? It was at that point that I said, look, I've got this lump in my right breast, I've been told it's nothing, it's probably nothing, but you know, your second opinion would be great. And she said the same thing, it's likely to be nothing, you're very young, it's probably nothing more than a cyst, but to be 100% sure, she sent me off to a specialist and had an ultrasound. Then, when I was having the ultrasound, they suggested having a biopsy taken. So once again, I thought this was all precautionary and went along with that. It was only within a few days that they called me back to get my results, and I went alone, which probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but you know, I felt pretty confident that I was too young for it to be anything serious. And yeah, that was it. It was then in London at age 24 that I got told that I had breast cancer. So it was all a bit of a whirlwind from that point, really. I had decided that it was best to come home and have my treatment where my family and things were around me. So I had about 3 days to pack up my London life and move out of my flat and all those things and return on a plane to New Zealand. So within a day of arriving, really, I saw the breast surgeon. It was at that point that he explained to me the pathology results from my biopsy, that I had stage 3 HER2 positive breast cancer. I guess up until that point I didn't really think it could be too serious because of my age. I thought, you know, it would just be a matter of cutting the lump out or something. But then I remember him using words like advanced and aggressive, and that's when I guess it all became real. So within about 2 weeks from that first appointment, I started chemotherapy. I had 16 rounds of chemotherapy in total, and I think during that time I also started my Herceptin treatment, which is a 12-month course of a drug that's specific for my type of cancer. The first couple of chemotherapies, my hair started to fall out, and I just remember just being so devastated. I'd already gone and brought wigs and that kind of thing, so I was prepared for it, so as much as you could be, but I don't think I was prepared for the fact that it was going to fall out so quickly. Within about 24 hours I was suddenly bald. And chemotherapy, you know, it was rough, obviously, but I think luckily for me, being probably so young, kind of got through it. I would spend a lot of time at my grandmother's place. I would come out to this courtyard and I would sit and relax and read a lot. Yeah, enjoy the sunshine, ponder really, I suppose. So it was a nice sort of escape, really. Once I got through chemo, I had surgery to have the lump removed. Obviously because of my age, I had to sort of weigh out what my risk factor was of the cancer ever reoccurring, and that then sort of indicated what surgery option I went with. Unfortunately for me, I had a few side effects and complications with my surgery, which led to a lengthy hospital stay and a lot of downtime. It had been a long 8 months really of surgeries and chemo and losing your hair and whatnot. I think the hardest thing was like the physical change. Obviously having surgery makes the appearance different, and then there's further surgeries and things to be back where you want to be. And the exciting part, decided that I want to get back to London and to the life I started. So that's kind of been my goal throughout my treatment, is keep my eye on the prize and plan my return trip, which is happening in a few weeks' time. Going back to the same workplace with my fellow work colleagues. I'm looking forward to seeing them because they've all been so great to me while I've been sick and really become like a bit of a family, I suppose, far more than work colleagues. It's definitely been my friends and family that have got me through this. They're the ones to cry with and make you laugh. My friends that I met while I was travelling are just amazing because we all have the same interests, and it's surprising that you can meet someone for such a short time on a trip overseas and yet they've seen me through such a life-changing experience. Also, I've got my school friends here in Tauranga, which has been nice to come home to. Yeah, really couldn't have done any of this without my friends, to be honest. I was in Hamilton with some friends and I was raiding one of my friend's wardrobes, and she had this really cool silk scarf with skulls on it. And I was like, Anna, I love the scarf, I want it. She was like, oh, well, we actually were going to buy you this scarf when you were having chemo, but we didn't want to send it to you in case you got offended because we knew you'd be wearing your scarves on your head. And I just burst into laughter. I was like, really? You think that a scarf with skulls on is going to upset me? And they were like, well, we didn't know. I think if I ever thought for one moment that it could beat me, I might have let it. Do you know what I mean? But because the whole time I've been like, I'm too young for cancer, I'm too young to lose. So it's just kept me fighting in a way. I've been given this massive second chance, which is just not something you can take for granted. I guess I look back now and I'm surprised to have done it all. But I'm proud of myself for doing it all. And I don't know, it's just one of those things life gives you. I love that scarf.